thing that actually shocked me was people were burning down car dealership companies now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you saw in
That is
Kenosha. In
crazy.
Kenosha, you have
Crazy.
15 cars on fire. You got the CNN reporter sitting there with his microphone. Fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. It's like, look, you guys are lying. You think the American people are stupid. You think we're dumb. You think that you could just you could pull the wool over our eyes and you could blind us from the truth, and we're not going to see the violence and the chaos taking place all over the country as you mischaracterize it and call these mostly peaceful protests. And what do you think the thousands of business owners that had their storefronts kicked in, their windows shattered, had all of their belongings, had everything they had worked for their entire life stolen, all of their shelves knocked over, and their business burned to the ground? How do you think they feel when they see the politicians, when they see the media get in front of the camera as they are sitting right in front of a building burnt to the ground and say these were mostly peaceful?
I don't even know what to say about this, because it is absolutely insane. It's insanity. Like, I don't know how far this has to get for CNN and the social media moguls to know that this is not a peaceful protest, right? These people are taking advantage of the situation to terrorize our communities now. And if I had my company in the Black community and I've seen the damage that these people are doing, what makes me think that if I'm able to reestablish a business again, I would build it in a Black neighborhood? Never. Because I know that if a racist, if something about race pops in, people would not hesitate but to burn down my business, and that is a problem. People are, and even if you are angry, why should you burn down someone who had nothing to do with the situation? Why should you burn down their business in the name of Black Lives Matter? Is that what Black Lives Matter does to you? Is that what it is to you? Yeah. If this is not racism, I don't know what else is. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. And I mean, in terms of what you're saying about the media, they do know. It's like that these people, that's the worst part about it. Like, they know these protests are not mostly peaceful. They know what's going on in America. They see the riots, they see the violence, and it is evil. It's pure evil that they completely ignore it because they think that it is politically beneficial to them. At first, they thought the riots, the looting, they thought that was politically beneficial to them, and they could say, look, there's a race where America is systemically racist, and the only way we can fix a systemically racist America, the only way we could stop the riots and the looting and the violence is if you elect us into office. It is basically an ultimatum. It's like they put a gun to your head and they say, look, if you want us to stop the violence, then vote for us. And it's like Americans are not going to put up with that shit. And now the Democrats are finally realizing it. It's hitting them in the polls. Their poll numbers are plummeting. So now they're panicking, and now they are starting to very softly acknowledge that there is violence and there is riots. And now they're trying to pivot and they're going, oh, but it's Donald Trump's fault. And I scratch my head. It's Donald Trump's fault. This is the guy who has been calling a stop to the violence and the riots from day one. And every single time he mentioned the violence and the riots, then the Democrats would come back and say, oh my God, you are attacking mostly peaceful protesters, and there is no violence, there is no riots. And now they're finally trying to pivot, and they're trying to change their tune. I think it's just too little too late, and people see the hypocrisy.
No, whatever happened this time has revealed to us who the Democrat Party actually is, who they are. And it's like these, most people have seen the violence. Most Democrats have seen the violence, and they have seen that this party is not really the party that can do something for the country. If it's anything, this party is the one that is actually destroying the America, and it's actually acting like if we vote for them, they are going to do something about it. If you can do something about it now, what makes us think that you can do something about it when you get in office? And these things have opened Black people, it has opened Black people's eyes to know that the Democrat Party cannot really administer or do something to help benefit this country. And many people now, I saw a video about Barack Obama during his presidency calling out these looters, calling out these protesters that are taking advantage of the Black Lives Matter movement for their own gains. And now he's now saying that Trump is trying to take away the rights of peaceful protesters, and Trump is doing this and Trump is doing that. But that is how hypocritical the president, the former president was. Because during his time, he called them looters. But now that it's time for us to vote for Joe Biden, he's now saying that, oh, these people are protesting peacefully. Right. So it's like these things, the more things get worse, the more the Democrat Party expose themselves for who they actually are. And people's eyes are actually getting to open, and people are starting to realize that the Democrat Party that they once stood for is not the party for the people anymore. And they cannot deliver the way that Trump is delivering. And I'm so thankful that our president was trying to reach out to these communities to help and, instill law and order. But these Democrat people would just not accept the offer. Just because.
Yeah, just on principles, because it'll show how weak they are. If they need Trump to come in, they need his federal troops to come in and quell the violence. It shows weakness, and they don't want that.
Problem.
And the problem is that Democrats have become so anti-Trump that they are now pro-crime. And if Trump says, "I don't like crime, I don't like people looting our stores, burning our buildings, terrorizing our citizens," the Democrats need to play on their narrative of whatever Trump says is wrong, it's bad. He's an evil orange man who's evil and orange. And if he says that he wants the violence to stop, then we like the violence. So no, we say absolutely no to your federal troops. We don't want them here. And we're going to say that these are mostly peaceful protests, and they can just continue to riot out in the streets, burn, loot, and just terrorize the citizens that elected these officials into office.
I don't know with the mayors and the politicians that are justifying these behaviors. I don't know how they're gonna feel if these looters burn down their house and their businesses. How would they feel with that? They are okay if these looters do it to someone else, as long as it's not them. And if the looters now try to attempt to approach them, that is when they call in the cops. I believe this is hypocritical. If you don't want that kind of treatment to be done to you, then try not to let other people do it to others. Do what you want others to do to you. That's the blank point, period. I feel like they are not strong enough to be leaders to instill law and order in these communities now that we need it the most.